Howdy folks, this is Tony here. I'm going to keep this as brief as possible because I want to get straight to the point. So I'm going to address what I think is a failure on Trump's part dealing with the issue of abortion. Please bear in mind, I am not trying to personally attack Trump. I would still much rather see him in the White House than Joe Biden, but this is an area where I feel as though he is weak or morally weak, and I am going to use my First Amendment right to criticize our past and probably future president. So here the article is entitled, Trump says this issue is a top concern for choosing his vice president. This was written by Madeleine Leesman on Town Hall, and I'm not going to read the entire article. I am simply going to summarize it for you. Trump is issuing a standard for his vice presidential candidate that they have to be moderate on the issue of abortion because he doesn't want to lose moderates and independents. Now, on the surface, you would think, okay, this is just pragmatic, this is just business, but there is a greater moral failing here on Trump's part on this particular issue. Now, I hope that this is simply a campaign strategy that he's using, but then once he gets in office, he's going to govern on the right side of this issue. But let's actually look at the problem here with Republicans trying to moderate on abortion. Now, zooming out, there's the slippery slope. If Republicans are going to moderate on this issue just to win this election, as the culture itself becomes more and more depraved, what else are they going to moderate on till before you know it, you don't see a difference between them and Democrats? Now, myself, I just want to say that this is very important. I want to get this disclaimer out of the way. It says reportedly multiple times in this argument, meaning these are third-party testimonies of what Trump is saying behind closed doors. I wasn't there, so I am just operating on the assumption that these guys are reporting accurately. Now, here's the important issue to understand about this, just a fundamental philosophy. I have worked in some very liberal environments, and whenever abortion comes up as a discussion, it's not talked about in pragmatic terms, such as incest and life of the mother, things that people on the right like to try to carve out exceptions for. They don't believe in that. They believe in one word and one word only that comes up all the time: choice. They believe that if a woman is 9 months pregnant and just wakes up and decides she doesn't feel like being a mother, she should just be able to walk down to Planned Parenthood, terminate her baby, and move on about her day, go get a snack, and just go home and chill. That's what they believe. They don't believe human life is sacred. So for these people, you carving out your three exceptions of when a man forces a woman, or when it's incest, or when it's life of the mother, they couldn't care less about exceptions. They believe in performing it in any case. So a Republican candidate trying to give Democrats 5% of what they want is not going to help when they could just vote for the Democrat who's going to give them 100% of what they want. And again, this goes back to something I deeply resent about Republicans and deeply admire about Democrats. Democrats stick to their guns no matter how wrong they are, whereas Republicans want to carve out here and cave here, and this is another example of this. I believe that there are more important issues in this election that are going to drive voters to the polls, such as there being food on the table, being able to afford gas, the border being closed, not having their children get assaulted in bathrooms by predators in drag, all kinds of things, perverts in the schools. There are all kinds of pressing issues that if he were to lean into those things, he could even start to gain black voters, Latino voters. He could even start to gain inner city voters. But trying to appeal to abortion, that issue, having worked in some liberal environments myself, that issue is only important to suburban women. Middle class suburban women are the ones that care about it the most. You think if you go into the hood, you think if you go into the trailer park, they're going to be crying about abortion? No, they're going to be talking about why gas is so expensive. They're going to be talking about why their neighborhood is not safe. That is what they're going to be talking about. And so rather than trying to alienate Christian voters like myself by compromising on such an important moral issue, he should be leaning into the issues that everybody, except for those suburban women he so jealously covets, are trying to deal with in this country. And I just want to zoom out. I believe that the abortion debate is an example of a failure on Republicans' part to go on the offensive and properly frame the issue. Here is how this issue should be framed. We should start from the basic premise that it's wrong to take innocent life. Then when you start from that premise, you can understand that in the case where the woman was forced into the encounter that got her pregnant, or in the case of incest, in those cases, if you get rid of the baby, you're punishing the baby for what the father did. How about we punish that father? How about we frame abortion as a Second Amendment issue? Because that's really what it is. Because under a Democrat world, a woman would not have a gun to protect herself. Therefore, she could fall prey to those thugs who would do whatever they want to her. And then she's the one having to walk into the Planned Parenthood, have her insides yanked out, be put through all sorts of physical and psychological trauma for the rest of her life. When in the Republican world, if she has a gun, she can just shoot the bastard before he even gets his pants down. We don't have to worry about what to do with the baby because she's not pregnant. And if she's able to stop that predator right then and there, then the next woman after her is not going to be victimized. So that woman exercising her Second Amendment right saved herself and the future other women that man was going to prey on. That's the real issue. If you want to win over women voters, I would say, hey, on the Republican side, you ladies can defend yourself. You ladies can decide what man gets you pregnant. You ladies can decide what your future is going to look like because you can protect your future. Whereas on the Democrat side of things, whatever happens to you is going to happen because you're a defenseless victim. That is the angle that needs to be addressed. And as far as life of the mother is concerned, we need to say, hey, why don't we pull that money from Planned Parenthood and put that money into obstetrics research, into gynecological research to advance our science enough to drive that infant mortality rate down even further, drive that maternal mortality rate down even further so we can protect mom in those circumstances and baby at the same time. That is how Republicans need to frame the issue. Instead of playing defense with some reprobates who just want to kill anything that moves, why don't we just play offense and protect mom and baby? That is how the issue needs to be framed. Again, I'm not trying to bash Trump personally. I just think this is a personal failing on his part. I think it's a little bit prideful because he's just assuming that because he is a white Protestant man, that he automatically by himself has the evangelical vote on lock. Now, while that may be mostly true, stances like this could erode at his Christian support. And because he's fighting an uphill battle against mail-in ballots, against irregularities, he is going to need every single vote that he can. So my personal recommendation, to be brutally honest with you, is that he either picks a vice presidential candidate that grew up poor or has ever been poor at some time in his life, knows what that is, and can talk to people about kitchen table issues. I don't think he should pick anybody who's never been poor before because they won't have the relatability, because every American right now, except for the boomers in retirement or the few millionaires and billionaires, everybody's more poor than they were before Joe Biden was selected into office. So I would say pick a poor person to be your vice presidential candidate and harp on the economy and don't try to cave on social issues. That's what I would say. I know Trump's never going to see this video, but hey, it is what it is. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Have a great day, everybody.